Good point. Kirsty Campbell asked, do you remember your first ever audition and how did it go? I don't even know the answer to this.
Oh God, I've had some bad auditions for sure. Did I ever tell you about the one where I hyperventilated?
No, when was this?
I auditioned for a movie called Mother by that was a Darren Aronofsky movie, and I was so worked up to try to like, you know, go in there. I didn't get the part, obviously. I mean, you know, but but by the way, the scene was a guy who kind of blasts in there. Don Gleason, this amazing actor, got this part where the guy blasts into the room with like a gun and he's threatening people. So it's like, you got to go in there at a 15. So I guess I was like outside waiting the entire time to go in there. And like, they kept pushing me, being like, it's another 5 minutes, another 5 minutes. And I was just like, by the time I went in there, I just was like, like I just went to fucking like level 20. And then I just literally told her, I was like, I'm going to have to stop. And they were like, are you okay? And I was like, can I just lie down on the floor? And she was like, what is the problem? And I was like, I can't breathe. And I was like, my hand just twisted like that.
Oh my God.
They're about to call an ambulance. And I was like, no. Like, I just need 5 seconds. Yeah, I didn't get that part. Auditions are really hard, man.
Oh, that's gotta be stressful.
But listen, you've done public speaking. You've had to be in front of like 1,000 people. Like it's not easy.
I can't even go back and watch some of my old shit. Like I gotta be honest. Like I was talking to.
You gotta be funny, Don. You gotta be witty.
But like some of the old stuff I went and did, I'm just like, oh my God, like I can't even hear myself. I can you go back and watch old? I mean, I can't. I mean,
no, I don't.
I
for
can't.
a good reason, to sleep at night.
No, but it's true. I'm not going to go back. You think I want to watch myself doing a golf fitness video from like 2011? Like, are you out of your mind?
Listen, you should put me in one of your golf videos.
Oh my God. Could you imagine? Can you swing a golf club?
Yes. with strength. Yeah. No, I'd be a horrible golfer. I'd be that person that like holds up the whole like line or whatever. I mean,
no, it would be fitness. It wouldn't be. I wouldn't be instructing you on golf. Thank God I'm not an instructor. All right, we've got a good question here. Fleur Douglas, who's training for a 100-mile running race. Jesus. Has a huge site. Could you imagine doing 100-mile? You remember our buddy David Kilgore with On? He runs those hundreds. It's crazy. Do you have any tips for how
like remaking Forrest Gump? I mean,
no, like, it's insane. 100 miles. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that. Do you have any tips for how to keep going and to keep your eye on the goal?
Yeah. Don't do it.
100 miles. Why are you asking us, Fleur? That's way out of our league. I mean, come on.
100 miles. No, man. I mean, my tip would be you gotta watch David Goggins. That's it. That's the only guy I don't know where else to go with that. 100 miles. That would be the only man I would go. I'd play him in my ear the entire time.
Fleur, in all fairness, and it's tough to ask us because we've never run 100 miles, but very challenging feats that maybe we've had to do. Like sometimes it just you got to think about. What would always scare me would be quitting, right? Like that was something that would always, I don't know if it's an ego thing or maybe something from my childhood, or maybe it was some things I battled with when I was a kid, but I always told myself that if I quit, not because of injury, not because of being sick, but just because of laziness or because I just gave up. Right? Like that was something that I just beat into my head that I couldn't tolerate. I never minded if I didn't finish first in the race. I just had to give my performance. And
okay, but let's just say something really quickly about giving up. Okay. I would say this, you got to remember giving up. I think giving up is like almost like a virus in itself, because once you give up like a little thing, then you're going to give up another thing. And then you give up another thing. And I mean, it's as little as this, like, let's say you say tomorrow, I'm going to get up at 6:30 a.m. And then you're like at 6:30 a.m. and you hit the alarm and you're like, oh, I'll just stay another half an hour. That little thing is going to affect the rest of the day. So it's just like, you got to keep don't give up on the little thing, because sometimes I feel like that can,
I want you to
has
add
a domino effect.
No, and I agree with you. And I want to get your opinion on this. There's a line that I've been using with the challengers: consistency trumps intensity. Because I honestly don't care if you come in and you give me 110% or 100%. I just want you to show up. And I feel like just the habit of showing up, and that, like, we've gone to some workouts sometimes and we're not feeling our best, or, maybe travel or something gets the best of you. And we just kind of adjust accordingly that day. And even if it's going through the motions, like, I think guys, just show up, but don't quit. You know what I'm saying? Because that, like you said, I think that's contagious.
Yeah.
Maddie, thanks for adding to that. That was fantastic, by the way. Yeah, perfect. I love you. Guys, as you know, Sebastian, you're one of my favorite human beings, so we can give it to you.
Oh, God.
I love you, dude. Maddie asked, hey, Sebastian, this is a great question. I'm curious. What are some of your favorite go-to running songs?
You know what's a really good one that sometimes gets me through is I go to YouTube and I go to White Panda Remix.
Bette Midler of the Rose. What is it?
White Panda Remix.
Oh, White Panda.
And there's like all these familiar songs like remixed, and it's kind of fun. That could be a good one. But what's weird? Recently, I've been like I kind of sometimes listen to podcasts doing it. It's weird. It helps to like kind of get that time, get something. Sometimes listening to a conversation like makes me run just the same, because
kind of double dip a little bit.
Yeah.
I like that. You've been running more on treadmills lately or outside?
No, I do like the outside. I think the outside is better, to be honest. I just think, because here's the thing. I've been looking at these Apple Watches and all that stuff, and we have all this technology now that kind of, is recording everything you're doing and all that. And I was listening to a podcast that was talking a lot about how your body has inherent signals that know when, or like, just suddenly someone out of the bushes just comes in and fucking stabs you in the back.
No, hold on. No. Did you just?
You're like just a horror movie in the making. Like
this pool behind me right now is like bubbling. It just started bubbling. It just scared the shit out of me.
This would be the beginning of a horror film, by the way. It'd be like a Ari Aster movie, like where we're just witnessing things and we're on mute and we can't like tell you that like something's behind you. Anyway, what I was saying, got distracted. What I was saying is your own body is going to know better than any watch or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how fast or when you need to slow down or like sprint, so I recommend outside running.
I like it. A little sun. Plus I can go shirtless, get a tan. Nothing's better than that. So what are you gonna do?
Well, I'm glad you feel okay about going shirtless, Don.
Well, I just, I'm running through my town.
Don't cause an accident. Jesus.
I'm not running through Manhattan here. I'm running through like the woods where I live. It's not like I'm all right. Let's pivot off of that.
Stopping traffic. Yeah.
All right. Natalie Cheshire asked, with filming for Fresh and Pam and Tommy so close together, did any of the work you put in for your physical transformation for Tommy Lee bleed over into the filming of Fresh?
No, Fresh came first. I did Fresh first, and then I was taking drum lessons on the weekends. But Fresh was and I was running a lot in Canada. That's where it was.
Are you still playing?
Dude, I haven't been home. I want to continue, but now that like sort of maybe the restrictions have gone down, I might be, because I in New York, where are you going to have the drums? Like the neighbors are going to kill me. Like I can't, I have to actually go somewhere to do it. So I need to find a place.
Martini has a studio in his house.
Really?
Oh, his son's no joke. His son's like an accomplished musician, has like records coming out. Like the kid plays like 10 instruments. But no, I get what you're saying. Like, I couldn't imagine you being at Mardini's house. I'd start laughing my ass off. If you messaged me one day, Mike would just be like making you dinner.
I'm like, Mardini won't stop talking.
Did you just hear that?
Don, it's an owl.
Something keeps bubbling out of this pool, and I'm literally like freaking out right now. I'm scared. All right.
See a giant T-Rex behind you. Yeah.
Someone stab me. I'm like shitting my pants right now. Hi, Don and Sebastian. I travel a lot for work and it makes staying on track a little challenging. What are your tips for being healthy when you're away from home? Seb, good one. I'm punting to you on that.
I mean, right. We've established that no matter where you are, you could run outside, unless you're, I don't know where. But I suppose, you know, I always think about that 100, 100, 100 thing. The 100 sit-ups, 100 squats.
Oh, push-ups? No. It was pull-ups, push-up, squats, wasn't it? I hope you're not.
Yeah, but I like sometimes, depending on the hotel room, I would actually try to do. They're very hard. The pull-ups with just like on a door frame.
You've got a really good pull-up though. You could do pull-ups. You could do pull-ups.
Yeah, but we're talking about like if you don't have a gym, right? We're talking about if you're just in the middle of somewhere. But 100 squats, 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, a little run. That's always good. You could do that anywhere.
Oh my God, this is a great question. And I'm forcing you to be honest on this one. Now, you're always honest. Princess Consuela asked, you have a unique ability to tap into a huge range of emotions and make it believable. You have made these relatable characters. You've made these relatable characters, but when you are diving into the minds of your ever darkest character, do you ever find anything that feels familiar?
Just Tone sitting there. Don't do it, Seb. Don't do it.
Oh my God.
You know, that's it.
Yeah. Tones. I knew you were going to punt off that one, but I still have to. I have to put a little heat on you. Let's see what else we have here. Okay. Leanna Hillman. I think I've asked you, Don, previously, but when you're both having a day you don't feel like doing anything, what is your motivation to still work out? Also curious if Sebastian has managed to try a British Sunday roast yet. I've never tried a British Sunday roast. Have you?
I have not. But you wouldn't mind it because it's a lot of protein.
And I think
it's a Sunday roast. But yeah, I have not done the Sunday roast yet. I'm a big believer of that whole sort of. Sometimes it's not the workout as much as like there's a few things that have to happen every day that the more you do them, right, define you in a way. So I feel like even if I'm tired and I go and I literally just incline walk on a treadmill for 45 minutes at a gym, I still feel like I went to the gym. I still was there. I can still say that I worked out for me. And even though it's not at a peak that day or whatever, right? I still manage something. And that still, I think, does something for the brain. So I think sometimes quantity is okay over quality. You still get something in there.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, you've chimed in on that a bunch and I can't stress it enough. Just you've been the prime example of just getting in and doing something. Like it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Like you just
no. You can't. There's no way you're going to be able to get it perfect every time.
About this, right? Like what are we really training? Are we training this? Or are we training this? I think we're training this.
I believe that it's there. Atomic Habits is an amazing book, and I always recommend that book because I just think like a habit, you will just feel better if you accomplish, those 3-4 things that you need to do every day for yourself. Maybe it's meditating, maybe it's a walk, maybe it's I'm taking some time to just like, I don't know, like write down kind of like where I'm at in my head. If you keep, no matter what day you're having, if you find a couple things to sort of do every day that feel good to you, then I think your brain will just immediately register that as a win, even if you're not having your best day.
100%. And we got under 20 minutes left, and you've been incredible with your time. So I just want to try and get a couple more questions. A great one in. There's a great one in from Haley Meyer here. She's asking for Seb, what are the things you find help you to cope with big transitions, like between fitness, nutrition plans for yourself versus roles, from character to character, or even traveling while keeping up with everything? Like, and I've never asked you that, like, you live a life where things have to drastically change. Like, I'm at least in my home environment for the majority of the time. I might have little trips here and there, and they almost feel like 3-day vacations. Like, you got to pick up and move somewhere for 3 to 6 months. This is a big deal.
Well, it's good and bad, right? Because to some extent, it's almost like plunging yourself in cold water every time, which is good, because when you're constantly changing, you have less sort of you're less inclined to kind of become complacent, so to speak. It forces you out of your comfort zone, so that's a good thing. But then, yes, it can also get very tiring and kind of exhausting, and feel like, oh, where do I live, or where am I? And again, it's those things. Like I said, for me, it's like, I need to meditate a little bit. I need to like work out a little bit, check in with myself. I'll check in with some friends. I'd bring my Apple TV. That's a big part of it. It's just something that I know, like, I will have that's familiar wherever I am. I look for a good coffee spot, and then that's great, because then I can go and have my little moment there. You need a routine. You got to have a routine. That's it. You got to find your routine and stuff. And but yeah, I don't know.
No, that was a good answer. Laura's asking a great question, and I'm very curious to hear this. If you could take on the role of anyone, real or fictional, in a movie or series, what would it be and why? Interesting. I understand. You may have to think about that a little bit. I mean,
I'm trying to think if I read something recently, like a book that I was like, this is an amazing book. I might have to think about that. That's a tough one. I don't know. I'm ready for some fictional characters, though.
We're going to kick that back later on. Laura Mueller asked, how did you manage to overcome a negative mindset? I'm already proud of myself because I'm working out, but when I see my stretch marks, they bring me down, and I wonder how to get over this. Thank you, Laura.
I have stretch marks. I'm just telling you. Well, I did, because it was really weird, because I was like, when I was 14, I for some reason, like, I was still growing and stuff. And then suddenly I had like a huge growth spurt.
Right.
And then I went up, I went to like 5'11", from 5'6". I went to 5'11" in like 5-6 months. And your body's just trying to adjust to that. So it's like, who cares? Honestly, like, we all have it, whatever, but I think the mindset is to just be like, okay, it is what it is. Like, you got to keep moving forward. I find, like, even as you get older, it takes tremendous effort to stay positive. It really, really does. Like, it's not just something that like rains down on you. Like, you have to kind of like say, at some point, if you're having negative chatter in your mind, or judgment, or whatever, self negativity, you have to go, like, at some point you have to make a decision, go, that's it. Like, I hear you, I'm good, and now I'm going to move on and like do something about it. By the way, I heard this on a podcast that was this incredible, I almost want to find it, to be honest. I want to tell everybody to listen to this podcast. Let me see where I can find it. It's okay. Here it is. Diary of a CEO. Okay. It's Craig David opens up about his painful rise, fall, and redemption. The Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett.
Stephen Bartlett. Why do I know that name?
Dude, this is amazing. You have to listen to this man and what he says, and about happiness, about everything. I mean, he has been through so much, and it's just incredible. Like, I'm gonna get his books, but anyway, it's on Spotify. Episode 135, Craig David opens about his painful rise, fall, and redemption. And in that, he actually names his brain a name. He gives his brain like a name. And it's that chatter, that negative thing, right, that we all have. And he calls it something. So I called mine Harold. So like whenever like I hear like Harold being like telling me like all kinds of things, I just go, Harold, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
Listen, Harold, I hear you. Like, I know you're very worried, but like, it's gonna be okay. You know, like you have to just make the effective transition, you know, and pick a positive thought, you know.
100%.
By the way, this other guy again that I listened to, Sam Harris, he said this one quote that I always listen to. He's like, what makes a distinction for people is your ability to be able to actually differentiate a negative thought from a positive thought. Like if you go, that thing I'm thinking right now is not actually a good thought for me, so I'm gonna take it, move it, and then actually make a decision to think about something positive.
It's funny, a therapist that I worked with years ago told me that, because I would get these negative thoughts in my head, and it would I would just carry it for hours and like create these like scenarios in my head. Like a guy would bump me in the subway and I'd be thinking about it for like 3-4 hours, like some nut. And he just turned around to me and he said something to me. It was so simple, but like anytime that would happen, again, it's like practicing. It's like, you just go in and you make this stuff routine. So when I get that thought, I would immediately just think like, stop, and then drop. And he would always just say, stop, grab that thought, move it over to the side, and just drop. And I would say those words in my head every time. And it actually became helpful. And it reminded me when you said like these habits, right? Like making these things habits, like they might seem tough in the beginning, just show up and do something rather than turning around and just, you know, ignoring it and going back to sleep and hitting the snooze button, you know?
No, I agree. But I also feel like negative thinking is addictive. Like it's a little bit of like, what do you call it? A self-fulfilling prophecy. Like that's what you have to be careful, because if you're allowing there's a conversation happening in your mind every time. And if you're sitting there and you're like, nobody likes me, or and again, it doesn't help. You're growing up in a world and people are negative now. Like, that's why I'm saying you have to be careful with what you're exposing yourself to every day. You're reading comments, you're reading things that like aren't really, you know, helping you. Don't feel like they're, you know, if someone's saying something to you, you have to ask yourself, does this person actually know me? Do they actually know how I grew up? Do they actually know what's going on in my life? What was happening today? Do they know what I care about, what I don't? Like, before you just hand over, you know, that kind of attention to something.
Yeah, that they don't necessarily deserve, right? I mean, in the reality of it. So Shannon Jackson asked, wow, I don't even know the answer to this. Sebastian